And finally, the very last video in this series that I'm going to upload. We have the one exploring all the collector's editions in the video game collection, which is too big as it is, of physical PC editions. I shouldn't say physical because there are one or two I think that I did in this that only came with a digital copy of the game, but it was still counted as the collector's edition of the game. I mean, after all, even if it came with a digital or a physical CD or DVD of the game or a Blu-ray, let's be real, I was redeeming that Steam code and we were going from there. But anyway, it's been a big series, it's been a trip, it's been wild. So this is the final video in the series. It's going to incorporate all the physical PC collector's editions, as well as I think I have one or two other things that are just editions that didn't qualify for any of the other platforms so far. So that's going to be on in here. I want to thank everyone for watching, joining me, hanging out, shooting the shit as always. For long time subs, brand new subs, or first person clicking on one of these videos, whatever it is. Video uploading has been strange, but we'll worry about that at another time. I'm still here. You can't get rid of me that easy. Oakley dokley, I guess we've got another one. This is a bit of a disappointment one that I have to bring up, but we have the BioShock Infinite Premium Edition. The PC Physical Premium Edition. Remember when PC games had physical editions? I know, right? Crazy. But it's really weird because despite everything that's in this box included in it, there's also the Handyman, which I could not fit in the box. I don't get it. But anyway, this is not the big special edition I wanted. There was actually one above it. I think it was called is it the Mockingbird? Songbird? Songstress? Something like that, collector's edition. It had the big bird that's included with it as well. But the only places, apparently over here at least anyway, that version of it was not sold on PC. There was a place that was down the street that was selling it, but only for the console versions, but we don't play that pleb shit in here. So anyway, before we go into the BioShock Infinite Collector's Edition, we will bring up the Handyman. So the Handyman is essentially BioShock Infinite, the terrible game that it is, their version of the Big Daddy. But it's this small and kind of useless in that sense. So that is what it is. But then we have BioShock Infinite. Such a big disappointment of a game. We've got Elizabeth on the back. Winner of over 80 awards. I love how it has a winner of over 80 awards before the game has even come out. This is a launch edition. This is a day one thing. So it just goes to show you how much of it is a scam. It's the same way like The Last of Us 2 was proven to be a scam, both by review outlets and the PSN. But, you know, we'll probably get around to that at some other point. So in here, we have a couple of different things. What do we have? We have upgrade pack. It's the code for the DLC stuff. Download your own soundtrack. Also just a DLC code. And then we have a bit of in-game promo art and stuff. What were they called in this game? They weren't plasmids. I want to say maybe they were vigors, but in this one anyway, you've got all your different. Yeah, I'm pretty sure vigor is sounding more and more correct the more I say it and the way I think about it. So this is just like an in-game advertisement for Devil's Kiss, which I think is just the fire one in this one too. But then we also have our Columbia Customs and Excise 1907 art book. We got a bunch of different Liz. We got the bird. It's the Songbird. There it is. I was trying to remember. So I think it's called a Songbird edition of all of that. We have the Boys of Silence. We got George Washington, Motorized Patriot. There's a bunch of different stuff. The Skyhook. You know, it got a bit wild in this one. But this is. Yeah, this game, BioShock Infinite, is obviously such a big disappointment for anyone who's played it. If you like BioShock 1, many people think you'll love Infinite, but it's just a huge disappointment. We have a keyring of a Vigor. This one is Murder of Crows, where you can just like throw a murder of crows at enemies to do what you do, to, you know, do the voodoo that you do and whatnot. Hoodoo you voodoo, bitch. But what else we got in here? Okay, they're in there nice and tight. There we go, starting to come out. That's how we want it. So we have a steelbook. I think MFG, is it Manufacturing Group, motherfucking G, whatever it is. It's empty because we don't keep it in there, but we have the regular version. Now, before I flip this over, again, hypocritical, winner of over 80 awards. So we have on this side BioShock Infinite physical PC edition, signed by Elizabeth herself. It was Courtney Drapier, one of the very first, if not technically the very first celebrity voice actor I met, and then Troy Baker on there as well, which is a bit of a shame because this came out in 2013, which was the start of Troy Baker's ascent to fame, because he had 3 big games coming, 2 for some people, 2 for the mainstream, 3 if you lived here in Europe, where he got like really popular. Because in 2013 at the start you had Persona 4 Golden, which came out the year before in America, but to me it's obviously over here. You had BioShock Infinite, which he got massive acclaim for as well, don't ask me why. And a couple of months later, The Last of Us, which I will give him credit for on that one, because, you know, I'm a big fan of the first Last of Us game. So yeah, that's in around. How do we get this bad boy back in here? Barely fits in properly. I don't know how this is supposed to go in here. Maybe it didn't actually go in there, but that's it. So that is BioShock Infinite Premium Edition, back when PC games got physical releases. This next one will take us all of 10 seconds to do, but we did mention it before in a different segment. The BioShock PC Collector's Edition. I couldn't find this one on the console, and I managed to get this all those years later. It's still, well, I say years later, maybe like 2 years later. It still has the same steelbook. Comes with the Big Daddy figure like we have on the front, but it is fully sealed, so I'm not going to open this one. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing special in it other than that. It's just a horrible Games for Windows version. And well, yeah. Next up we have Potential, Collected, and Combined with Disappointment, because we have the Deus Ex Mankind Divided Collector's Edition. Now, you might remember, so this is obviously the sequel to Human Revolution, which was a great game. So naturally, everyone was expecting great things from this. However, the game, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, turned out to be shite, to the point that it pretty much killed the series. And apparently there was a different game in development who Adam Jensen, aka Elias Dufexis, was not included and asked to return for. But yeah, apparently it's been shelved and done and all that too. So we have the physical PC edition of Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Day 1 edition, included in our big fancy triangular box. This is a really awkward one from what I remember, because why wouldn't it be? You know, it's a triangle. Geometry is a bitch. So let's just get this off camera real quick. There we go. So we have it in here. We have a steelbook for Mankind Divided. You know, it's funny they gave him robotic wings. He does look kind of cool in this picture, because he just looks more like a, you know, I mean, it's 2024 now, so we've all seen The Boys. So he does look a lot like Butcher, actually, when you think about it. Maybe they based him off this. They figured nobody remembers Adam Jensen anymore, you know, because he never asked for this. And then we have an art book for Deus Ex Mankind Divided. This will actually probably be good, because the art in this game and like the cybernetic stuff and all was really good in Human Revolution. So I do think some of it would probably be really good in this. Not a massive improvement. But anyway, then we have the statue, which is being very, very awkward, to the point where we're just going to leave him in here instead of the base and all as well. But it comes with, there's a little stand that you can like hold his knee under to keep him in place. You can mount his gun in the way it should be. I really shouldn't have taken this out. It looks like it's going to be an absolute nightmare to get back in place. Oh no, it looks like there's loads of space. It's okay. It looks like it doesn't have to go in a very specific way. But the big thing that really sucked about this collector's edition is it highlights the change from the two games. Because Adam Jensen just became like full on I don't want to say full on synthetic because of how much they replaced and all in the story in the old game, but it's how it looks. You know, he had a couple of weird things, like his arm could open up and close again to like get extra force in his punches and all that. But now he just looks like an amalgamation of just wires and cables and stuff like that. And it just, let's try to get this back in one piece. It just ain't it, dog. That's the best I can say. But anyway, I'm not going to attempt to put all this back in one piece on camera because that is going to be an absolute nightmare. So we will leave this version here. And, well, from what I see from recording this, it looks like we only have 5 more things to go. Granted, you're not seeing them in order, but the recording segment is finally almost done. Next up, we got another physical PC edition back when, well, they still did them. This is one I praised before, but it's praised in that way. But the other part of it that I praised has kind of come back to bite me in the arse. But firstly, we have the Diablo 3 Collector's Edition. Glorious PC Gaming Master Race version. Now, you might remember that on, I think it was the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Collector's Edition on Switch, I complained about the like little flap that was sitting over it and that it's just there and it falls apart and all as well. And I made great comparisons to the StarCraft ones. Now the StarCraft ones, if I remember correctly, are the same as the Diablo ones. And after all this time, the adhesive and all has come off the back. I may be wrong because it doesn't seem like there's any globs of adhesive anywhere. There was like on the StarCraft ones, which I'm sure we'll get to at some point because, well, I haven't filmed them yet and it is going randomly and I will edit them together, probably alphabetically, but yeah, that's we'll get to them eventually and we'll see. I'm pretty sure they have adhesive on the other ones, but we have the Diablo 3 Collector's Edition. It's a pretty funky one. You do get a lot of stuff in it, which leads it to be all the more disappointing that Diablo 4 had no physical collector's edition. They had one of those collector's boxes that didn't come with the game. So it was basically like we got ripped off of with Final Fantasy VII Remake and another game that we haven't actually recorded yet for a different platform. But anyway, let's start. We got the big ass Diablo 3 art book. Now I haven't actually opened this, as you can see, which I had been meaning to do when I first bought it for ages, because it's nice and embossed on the Diablo, not the tree, but the word Diablo. I've been a fan of Diablo since Diablo 1, and their art has always been fantastic. That's one thing I can't fault Blizzard for. Their artwork is always amazing, even if it doesn't always translate in game. For example, you see lots of the actual concept art and stuff for World of Warcraft, and all the screenshots and videos and all I've never played World of Warcraft, so all the screenshots and videos that I've ever seen of it, the game looks trash. It's all cartoony and shite, which is exactly what they did with Diablo 3. They showed off all this amazing badass artwork and all before launch, and then it had the cartoony look of World of Warcraft. Now it turns out that Diablo 3 ended up being a better game than Diablo 4. So far, I may pick up the expansion for Diablo 4, but Diablo 3 kind of was hit or miss, take it or leave it at the start, until it was revamped with the big patch for the expansion. But it turned out to be a much better game long term than Diablo 4, but that's neither here nor there. So we've also got a making of, behind the scenes DVD, all of that kind of usual stuff. Not sure if it's going to go into in depth under CG or anything like that, because this is actually taken from one of the CG things. And I remember at the time when I first booted up Diablo 3, it opens with a great CG video, and just like their artwork, Blizzard are one of the best, if not the best in the industry, with their FMVs and cinematics and whatnot as well. And it was actually unreal when I saw it the first time. I could not believe it. It was one of the best, if not the best, CG anything in a video game that I'd ever seen at that point. We've got the game case itself, nothing special about that guy here. See what else we have. There's a bunch more in here. Oh, we've got we've got a Diablo 3. So these codes, well, this code is obviously used because I used it to redeem the stuff. So you have like the Diablo 2 Collector's Edition or Diablo 3 Collector's Edition. It comes with Diablo 1 and 2, or is it 2 in the expansion? It's Diablo 2 and the expansion, which are on a USB key provided in here. So you could actually, this was back in the day, not many people realize this, but you could redeem classic Blizzard games in a very, very awkward roundabout way through their website. And, you know, that's how you do it. So you get free Diablo 2. Now, I already have, or had, even at the time, physical versions of Diablo 2. But it was nicer to be able to just redeem them on there, nice and easy with that. There's guest passes for World of Warcraft, which is, you know, ironic and funny within itself. I've never played it, don't give a shit, so not much of an issue. We have a Diablo 3 soundtrack. Probably not the full thing, although there is a decent amount of tracks on it. So it does have in there. But realistically, I've never really... Oh, we've got a guest pass for Diablo 3. If anyone wants those guest passes for Diablo 3 or World of Warcraft, well, just pause, go back, pause the video. Hey, there's another one. And you'll be able to get them there. But lastly, we have this, which is what we want. But yeah, there's really only one important song from any of the Diablo games that anyone gives a shit about. It's basically just the Tristram music. So this is a Diablo head. I think it's a Diablo one. They say it on the back. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, Diablo skull and 4 gig USB soulstone. So this is just kind of like a cool little holder for it, just so you don't have to sit it in the box. You've got a 4 gig soulstone. It can just slot in there nice and easy to store and have access to if you want to leave it on display or on the desk or something like that. But this is the USB key that has Diablo 2 and the expansion on it. I could have sworn it had Diablo 1 on it. Whoa, this is awkward to get back in. Let me take a look. There we go. Yeah, I could have sworn it also had Diablo 1 in there, but then I noticed there's no CD key. But maybe there was no CD key required for it. Let me check the back. Let me check what it says on here. Shackle your PC into unholy slavery with this 4 gig USB key, Soulstone, and Diablo Skull base. The USB also includes full versions of Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction, so you can retrace the sinister path of the Dark Wanderer once more. So no, it did not include... It did not include Diablo 1, it was just Diablo 2 and the expansion. But I already had those two. But it's nice to have them digitally, and especially now in 2024 when there's the remake anyway, so it's kind of a moot point on there. But that is the Diablo 3 Collector's Edition. We'll move on to, well, you probably know what's next after all, but we'll do that next. So let's keep it going with the closest next best thing to a sequel anyway. Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. When the game finally turned around, when the proper big 2.0 patch just before this release came out to prepare everything for this. So just like the previous one, we will have to compare it to our StarCraft ones, because I'm almost certain StarCraft ones were better. I thought it was all the Blizzard stuff, but, well, we shall wait and see, shan't we? So let's see what we got in this bad boy. Straight away at the front, we have CD. This looks like this is a collector's edition CD, and or no, not multiple CDs, just one. We got, what's that, 22 tracks on the back. Still not open. You know, it's not the kind of thing. Again, just like I said in the previous one for Diablo 3, the only real important one is like the Tristram theme song, basically from the first game. We have the Reaper of Souls case. This is the game DVD itself, not too crazy to talk about. We have another making of DVD, another behind the scenes. Is it DVD or Blu-ray? I'm going to assume it's... See, well, it's confusing. It says DVD, video, and Blu-ray. Who knows at this point? And then, oh, we got a mouse mat. A floppy mouse mat. Not even one of the good ones. I got one of them good Corsair RGB. I think it's an MM600, if I recall correctly. Nothing else in there. So, you know, I don't need this guy. Because I do need a mouse mat for on here because of all the texture and design and whatnot. But then we also have the Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls art book. Still fully sealed, still embossed where it says Diablo and Reaper of Souls, but not... Wait a minute. Yeah, it actually is embossed on the number 3 as well, but not the art of. So, you know, this is going to have all the extra stuff. It's funny because when you play the game, you know, you have Diablo at the end of Diablo 3, and then you've got this guy whose name I can't remember. I want to say, it's not. I'm pretty sure it's not Azrael. Who knows? Who knows? It's been a while. But that is the Diablo 3 Collector's Edition. It's always nice to see how much effort Blizzard used to put into Collector's Editions. I don't include that new one that I mentioned for Diablo 4 because it's basically just a collector's box that doesn't include the game, which in and of itself is just a bit wank. I mean, it didn't even come with a box with a digital code. Like, even if you flip this bad boy open and, you know, it's like, oh, it's got a CD, and, you know, even if there was no CD and just the code in it, it didn't even come with a physical, like, any edition of the game. There was no code, there was no anything. So it just felt a bit... I'll have to do this by looking into it anyway. It just felt a bit extra wank, which is such a big disappointment because, as you've seen with Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, and later on in this video, 3 StarCraft editions. Yeah, you get the deal. Hell, even Overwatch. Well, I guess I just spoiled one of them that you probably didn't think I had. This next one's got a little bit of a special place in my heart as well because it's a proper revival and a return to form out. We have the Doom PC Physical Collector's Edition. This is Doom 2016 for those of you who are inclined to refer to it as such, because let's face it, there's already a Doom 1, a Doom 2, a Doom 3, and, well, this is not good, so let's try it a different way. So it's just kind of a shame. Like, I've played Doom 1, I played Doom 2, I played Doom 3. Like, it must just be me, but I kind of wish I got to play, you know, Doom 4 all the way through Doom 2015. But yet here we are. So on the inside, now, it looks like this isn't put together properly. We have the Doom Steelbook with the Revenant and the game. Self-explanatory. God damn it. They're always in all sorts of awkward ways, aren't they? There's actually not much included in this if it's just... If it's just a statue. Oh my god, there's styrofoam everywhere. Just a statue and the game. And of course, could you be any more noisy? We have our Revenant figure. I think, did this make noise or something? No, I guess not. I'm going to put this back down because it's making an extremely large amount of noise. It's nice enough. To me, the Revenant isn't as iconic as you would expect. Like, to me, it should have been Doom Guy. That should have been the big return. But I mean, at least we got Doom and Doom Eternal out of it. The game quality speaks for themselves. I think this next one is going to be a big fun one. This was a highly sought after item at the time. It was the hotness, and naturally, your boy could secure it as always. We have the PC Fallout 4 Pip-Boy Edition. I actually have a picture somewhere. Well, I may still have it. I remember taking a picture of it. I was managing GameStop at the time when this game came out. And I remember in like a 1 or 2 day run up to this game launching. I just gotta move this off to the side. We got in all our Pip-Boy editions. And, well, we got in like all the copies too, but the Pip-Boy editions obviously were stored in the stock room. And I remember seeing them just piled, like, it was probably 4x4, maybe 4x3 length and depth, but they were stacked to the ceiling. They were separated by platform and all, but they were stacked to the ceiling. Now, I don't remember how this opens. There we go. So I was going to say, let's do this live, baby. We have our Fallout 4 Steelbook, which is obviously, you know, just our disc and all as well. And then you've got your little thing on the inside for, I'll expand this out. This shows all the perks. It's actually really cool how they did, the perk system in, like, just the layout, the perk layout screen in Fallout 4. How it's, you know, evolved with all the different jobs and all the different everything. Stuff that's into strength, perception, endurance, charisma, range. You know, I kind of want to go back and play Fallout 4 every so often. But it all, the same thing always happens. I keep, because of the awful way I have to do this, I keep hitting it on this one. But it's really annoying because I'll download it, I'll play it for like 15 minutes and then I'll just give up and like, well, that was fun for the 15 minutes. Like, it gets to the point where my internet is so good. I don't know about with the new next gen update. Apparently it's like 15 gigs or 20 gigs bigger. But I had the 4K DLC or 4K texture pack. So with all the DLC, Fallout 4 was about 90 something gigs. And I could still download it in no time because I've got gigabit internet. But it still felt like it would be longer to... I would play the game longer than it would take me to download. It was that crazy. With the Fallout 4 Season Pass, I forgot this actually came with it. Then we have the Vault Dwellers Survival Guide, which is basically just the very basic controls right at the start. And then we have the Pip-Boy Operation. This is all just how to use the Pip-Boy itself and a bit of lower accurate versions of it too. So firstly, let's get this bad boy open, shall we? It comes with a stand. Is there anything else in there? No, it doesn't feel like it. So it comes with a stand and we have... There we go. We have our Pip-Boy. There's still... Oh, there's something inside it. An iPhone... Oh, you could put your phone in this. Right, that's it. You could actually like mount your phone in it. It was kind of stupid in a way because it's clear. So there was a companion app designed to be the Pip-Boy, but it didn't work for PC as far as I'm aware. And I believe it only worked on the console stuff. But I do think it's funny here. iPhone 5, 5S use both foam rings. iPhone 6 use outer foam ring only. They're like adapters to allow you to do all that. So they're just like little bits of foam in there to go. But it just goes to show, like, this came out in, what was it, the end of 2015? So, yeah, iPhones 5 and 6 was a bit of a big deal. There's also a strap in here, too, which I won't bother with, but, let's do this live, will we? I don't oh, God, I don't think that ain't it, Chief. So it actually doesn't come apart. So, I don't know, it seems like a bad design. It seems like a bad design, but hey, what do I know? I'm just a goat. Hey, it's not even on fully properly, but it's looking pretty okie dokie on me, if I do say so myself. I mean, it's not even in the right place, but yeah. I mean, I if anything, I would wear it on, I'm right-handed, so if anything, I would wear it on my left hand, so I could be properly dexterous with my right hand and like look up stuff like this. But yeah, that's a bit of a funky one. I was actually given, this was years and years ago, I was actually given by an ex-girlfriend, not just an ex-girlfriend, but let's say the ex-girlfriend. If you know, you know, lads. Her Fallout 3 Pip-Boy, which was not available here. So it was, and you know, back in like 2010, 2011, getting stuff like that was, it was very difficult from outside the country. But she gave me that one, and I loved it. Oh shit, I absolutely loved it, and I was so happy with that. And when she dumped me, she took it back. Feels bad, man. Feels bad, man. And then all these years later, this one comes out. So, you know, it's we can call it it's a happy story. It's like Bob Ross, and there's a happy tree over here. There's a happy Pip-Boy over here. But, yeah, that's the one that got away, lads. But let's not worry about that. Because in this one, we're just worrying about the Fallout 4 PC physical Pip-Boy edition. I'll get the sleeve back on it in a second. I actually debated including this one at all in this video, simply because I've actually already done its own separate unboxing video. But I decided, you know what, I might as well. But we have the PC Fallout Anthology. What was it? Big Boy? No, not Big Boy. No. Fat Boy? Fat Man? Mini Nuke Edition. But let's open this bad boy up. This actually comes, this was in the run-up to Fallout 4. And it actually came with a copy of every PC Fallout game. Which I believe I've given away to somebody at this point, because I already owned all of them at the time. Let's see if it still works. That was not it. Oh, that is also not it. We're gonna have to do this differently. So if you've seen the original video, you know that this is a troll. This is a troll right here. But let's see if this still works. Battery probably is fucked at this point, but yeah, you can't really hear it. It used to be obviously much stronger when the battery actually worked. But basically you press this and you would have the sound of the Fat Man mini nuke just whizzing through the air. But anyway, I used to think it was you press down on the top, and yeah. But that ain't it, Chief. Now let's get all this bad boy out. So basically all it is a little anthology thingy to tell you, thank you, here is, in the upcoming run-up to Fallout, here is every version of Fallout, basically. So as you'd expect, you've got all the different stuff. You've got Fallout 1, you've got Fallout 2, you've got Fallout Brotherhood of Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4 is on there. So there's not a huge thing to talk about in this one. We have our Fallout 1, which we have. These are all discs, by the way, which is funny in and of itself. So, you know, in the age of, I mean, I guess it was, what, the end of 2015? So disc drives were still a little bit kind of prevalent to an extent. I mean, hell, my secondary PC has a disc drive. It's got a Blu-ray reader, Blu-ray burner, actually. And we have Fallout 2, which we also have a disc for. But I did think it was nice when you look at this. It's like, oh, it's got, you know, Fallout Tactics, Fallout 3 Game of the Year Edition, Fallout New Vegas Ultimate Edition, Fallout 4. I'm like, wait a minute. Fallout 4, wait a minute. So we have Fallout Tactics. I still have my original discs for like the majority of these games. I still have it for Fallout 1 and 2, Fallout Tactics, and then of course I still have all my other games, which we will have probably covered most of in this video. Fallout 3, come on, Game of the Year Edition. It's funny because all of these pretty much have to be redeemed with the, oh, that's in the wrong place, with the Steam code that comes with it. But I gave it away to somebody. I gave it away to Amp years ago. If you know, you know. Fallout New Vegas. Now you're going to find out why this was a troll edition. So I remember looking through this back in the day when it first came out. I'm like, oh, and then there's even space for Fallout 4 in here when it eventually comes out. I'm like, then I open it, I'm like, wait a minute, there's something here. And then I look and I'm like, wait a minute, there's something here. Then I pull it out and it's like, oh, really, dog? They trolled me that hard. It was feels bad, man. A bunch of people got a good laugh about it in the comments. Not me though. Kind of low key, salty. But that is the Fallout Mini Nuke Collector's Edition. Fallout Anthology Mini Nuke Collector's Edition. So keep an eye on it. Does this actually does turn? Does it lock? No, it just turns. Oh well. This one's going to be a nice blast from the past, especially for those of you who are not up on the lingo and how things change and all as well. But we've the Final Fantasy XIV 1.0 Original Collector's Edition. Not a Realm Reborn 2.0, but this is the original PC release 1.0 Collector's Edition. And we all know how that went over, and yeah, how that famously fell apart. But let's get all this bad boy back together. So actually, this came with a Square Enix security token, which I happily took out and used for years until the battery ran out. Because back in the Final Fantasy XI days, you would get, I think it was extra storage for buying and linking one of these to your account. Now, Square at the time, because of how the internet was, this is like back in 2010, 2011, would not ship to outside of like certain European countries and whatnot. We're not really considered a major European country, so they would not ship them to us. So when I bought this and I thought nothing of it, and then someone in my link shell at the time in Final Fantasy XI told me, hey, if you have it, you can link it and it will work and you'll get all the stuff. So that was all well and good. It worked. It's around here somewhere. It's a tiny little thing. It's like one, what do you call, two-factor authenticator, and you know, away you go. So we have our Final Fantasy XIV box and disc. Nothing special about that. Take this out. There's also a nice cloth Eorzea map, again for folding and posterity purposes and all. I'm not going to open this one. It is kind of funky when you compare. I realize there's like limitations of the engine and changes of the engine and whatnot, and PS3 limitations and all as well from the original game. But for anyone who's played Final Fantasy XIV back in the 1.0 days, you know that basically all of the Shroud area used to be one large zone. It was all the same, like 4 little tiny tiles copy and pasted a million times, but it was one large zone. It wasn't as varied as, you know, North Shroud, South Shroud, East Shroud, West. Actually, there's one that's missing on there. I don't think there's a West Shroud, but you get the idea. It wasn't as varied and all as that, but it was one large zone. The same with like Mordona, how it was like twice the size of what it is now. You could go around the full side of the lake. All of Tanalan was one big area, etc. But, you know, limitations and problems within itself. What else do we have in here? So let's see what we have in this bad boy. This is a box of some type of Final Fantasy XIV tumbler. Is this a glass? I hate when they do packaging like this because I don't want to break it or anything like that. No, it's like a leather tumbler. I mean, would it be like for drinks? Would it be for storage? It's nice, it's shiny, it's not really scuffed or anything. I think this is probably the second time I've ever opened this in the 14, 15, Jesus Christ, has it been that long? 14, 15 years that I've owned it. It has a nice feel to it, you know, considering it's metal and what feels like some type of leather. But it was nice. It was nice. But one thing I do always remember about this collector's edition is one of my favorite things in any collector's edition. And it's this little book. Final Fantasy XIV. It feels like a leather-bound book. You know, my library is full of many leather-bound books and smells of rich mahogany. But it's actually just a notebook with various different characters, job professions, NPCs, actions, classes, etc. in the game. But just for some reason, like, this just strikes me as, there's some art in the back too. It strikes me as the kind of thing where you could pick this up, because this was still in the early days. I mean, it's no old school Final Fantasy XI where you had to figure out the fucking sun, moon, and the stars, point in a different direction on a different day with a certain type of crystal, at a certain time of day in a certain moon phase, just to get certain things done. And you had to figure out all this crazy Simon's Quest tier stuff. But this is the kind of thing, with the quality of the book, the quality of the paper, the art, the feel of the pages, etc. It's the kind of thing you could write down. It's like, oh, I found this here, such and such. This is how you complete such and such. You got to face this way 3 times. Walk the season, spring to winter, spring again, so we can enter. You know, that kind of thing. It's just everything about it. It just feels good. It looks good. It's nice for what it is, and just everything about it. It's funny because it's a shame that some things that were in this game, the Final Fantasy 14 1.0, were still better than the original. Than the 2.0 and beyond. It's mainly because of how advanced it was and how broken it was. There was far too much in the case of gear. There's far too many polygons in plants. You know, stuff like that. But even like the smoothness, the animations, the quality of the graphics and a lot of stuff was actually better. Go look up a white mage with a high-end PC casting Protect. It still looks better than practically any spell in modern Final Fantasy 14. And this is in the year 2024, where, not Endwalker, Dawn Trail just came out a few weeks ago. And then we got the Final Fantasy 14 Heavensward Collector's Edition. Now this is the one that started all the problems that I've mentioned in at least one of the other videos yet, because these are all recorded in a random order, which will eventually be edited together to make sense. So this is the Final Fantasy 14 Heavensward Collector's Edition. This is the one that came, where are we? This is the first expansion pack post Realm Reborn. Why is this awkward? Why? So this is seemingly stuck to here. Yeah. There we go. We're almost there. God damn it. See, this is how you know I didn't prepare these in advance, because I have no absolute idea what way I'm doing any of this. There we go. Yeah, so the top of this is in here. Okay, Mulligan. So we have the Final Fantasy 14 Online CD, but this is a soundtrack of some type. It's actually a Blu-ray soundtrack. Or is it? It might not be the soundtrack. It is Eorzea in Motion, A Realm Revisited. It could just be a behind-the-scenes Blu-ray documentary. Surprisingly enough, it's a Blu-ray documentary in a PC version that comes with a DVD-ROM. Crazy stuff, am I right? We have Heavensward. Nothing special about this. It's just the box with the game. But we'll go on there. Let's get that off to the side. We have a small little... No, you know what? That's not what I thought it was. This is... Actually, let's move this to the side. No, you know what? Let's start with this. So this is what I mentioned. This is why it was so much of a problem. A big debate. A big bait and switch. In all the promotional materials, even on the back of the box, they always made the statue look huge and big and fancy. This is the Dragon Mount statue. This is tiny. This is like, look at this. This, I can, from my baby finger to my thumb, that's the size of the box, let alone the actual Dragon Mount within. Because they made it look like it was going to be one of the big story dragons in the thing, which are big monstrous things. Because I remember when I got this box, I'm like, okay, that's a little bit small, but surely the statue is like the size of the box. And then you open it up and you see it's this. And not only myself, many, many other people were very, very, very unhappy with it. Which is why once they released, there's nothing else in here, other expansion packs, it was nice to see that they rectified it a bit. So, you know, it's not... Some of them were bigger, full-on size ones. They're not big, crazy Square Enix €150 statue alone ones. But, yeah, you get the idea. So this was the big first Fancy Pants expansion. They had... they introduced flying and stuff into it as well. So, you know, it was held back by the PS3 players. I think this was the first expansion and only expansion, I believe, that was included for PS3 players, because I think they said, no, was it? Did this come out on PS3? I don't remember. eventually they cut off one of them, and they're going to be cutting off the PS4 soon as well, if not already. I don't know if Dawn Trail came to PS4, probably did, but I mean the vast majority of players in Final Fantasy XIV are on PC anyway, especially with the new dead Xbox version. But yeah, this was the start and the annoying thing for this one. Luckily rectified with most of the other. Not a great collector's edition, especially this left a sour taste in the mouth. But, you know, you gotta have it. So, well, look forward to a few more. Now, we're back. We've made it happen. This one was nice and easy. So here we have our Stormblood figure. So with all of these collector's editions, they typically come with a figure, a character of some importance for the relevant expansion pack. Now, I haven't shot that exact part yet, but there's a very specific issue I've had with this, which by the time I do shoot it, you'll have probably already seen it because I'll try to put these in order, which was for the first expansion pack for this game, which I can't even remember the name of. It wasn't Endwalker, oh, it's Heavensward, that's it, which I'll talk about in that one. If I recall correctly, they learned from their mistakes, and, wow, I actually have never opened this. That is certainly a something. You know what? Why do anything crazy? Let me see if I have what I need to have to open this here. Because we always come prepared. Except for when we don't. So, I'm not even going to cut it. I'm just going to abracamagic away for a few seconds. And, yeah, then we'll have it. So, live unboxing technically for the first time ever. Despite me having this for years. It's okay, guys, I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. I have all this ready. So, let's get this bad boy open. Shall we? Now, if I recall correctly, this is one of, I don't remember if they're called the judges in this one, like they are in Final Fantasy XII, but they certainly look like it. Let's see what we have on here. So this is Xenos Ye Galvas, which is a pretty high profile character. Oh, don't rip or anything like that. No, it's just all of that. Now, let's see. So, we will find out. Because I don't think Stormblood is the second expansion. I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure, hopefully at least, they learned from their mistake. Maybe I opened a different later expansion pack one about the whole thing. Okay, they did. They learned from their mistake. So let's... Oh, don't you dare fall and break. This is big fancy collector's edition stuff. It's okay. It's locked in. Absolutely locked in. I want to pop this. I was about to say without it going everywhere, which is why I was being, you know, extra about it. And then what happens? It just goes everywhere. Luckily, it was only the base, which is just in there. So, not that much of a problem. And these... Not going to take the full thing apart. Because, so there we have... Fuck, what's his name? I don't know. These are apparently the Maester quality figures that they claim to produce. I somehow doubt it, because if you've ever seen Square Enix's Maester quality things that they produce... Is that upside down? No, that's the right way around. If you've ever seen their They're Maester quality ones that they produce. 1, they're much bigger. 2, they look much better. 3, they're kind of bigger and heftier. And 4, this collector's edition, I can't remember how much it cost. I want to say 130, 150, maybe even €200. Those figures alone usually start at 250. Let alone go above. If you look at one of their crazy ones like Bahamut or some of the other crazy shit, they're hundreds, if not like 1,200 or €1,000 or something crazy on there for certain ones. But anyway, that's our Stormblood PC Collector's Edition of Final Fantasy XIV. Next, we got a nice fancy one. These are always usually good with the collector's editions, even if they burned me once or twice, kind of, but not really. The Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood Collector's Edition. So this was a couple of expansion packs ago. I actually have all the expansion packs. You'll probably either have seen them or will see them, or partially on both at this side. But yeah, we have all of them except one, because I forgot to excuse myself from college class that morning and buy it online before it sold out. But we have our Stormblood Final Fantasy XIV Collector's Edition. So as with all of these, you get a big fancy gold box. Luckily I'm wearing a pair of shorts, otherwise you'd see something funky there. But you know, well, you should be so lucky, am I right? Let's pop this bad boy open. Let's see what we have on the inside. Okay, so this is gonna be big and awkward. I'm actually gonna have to stand up to do this. So we'll push this aside just for now, because this is heavy. So there's definitely stuff in here. I can see it. I can feel it. Yeah, and you don't stop. We've got a Final Fantasy XIV Stormblood. I think this is a sticker. Maybe not a sticker, but one of those vinyl transfers. You know, like the things that just use a static or whatever it is to just adhere itself to stuff, but doesn't actually stick. So it's not sticky. Like low techie, high techie. That kind of stuff. What else we got on the inside here? We got the game itself comes with a collector's edition. You know, not much that we can talk about there, but it wasn't even installed using the disc. We have the Art of Eorzea Stormblood. So this is all Stormblood artwork. Unfortunately, hey, that looks like Orin, but it's just samurai. This is where it all gets kind of weird. We got rapiers for Red Mage. We got Fordola, Hien. These are all the people from things. We got Lisa, who's actually pretty cool. She had nice gear and whatnot too. Mounts, minions. Let's see, do we have any good minions? We got the otter minion. We got the little bird at the bottom left. We got the little fox kitsune, whatever it is on the top left. We got the little raccoon or the tanuki in there too. We got a little old school red mage. So, you know, there's plenty of good stuff. As you'd expect from Final Fantasy, the artwork is typically on point. So that's always a nice one. There's one more thing in here by the looks and feel of it. Yeah. Now, this is still fully sealed and all as well. This is a cloth map of Eorzea. Okay, for disappointment purposes, I will not open this because it's one thing to fold a poster and all back, but you can easily find Eorzea on there. Besides, there's enough stuff in this video to make it worthwhile to justify all of that. But wait, there's more. You know what? We're going to cheat. I'm going to Alakazam, Abracamagic, and get this all back in here so we can get some space for this bad boy. So I'll just call this one for the purposes of recording out of order and all of this, but you know, it'll make more sense. Finally, on the very last Final Fantasy XIV Collector's Edition that we have. I did mention I was missing one. I think it's Endwalker that I'm missing, but this one is Shadowbringers, which I actually found like to be probably the most disappointing expansion, because if you've played the Final Fantasy XIV story with all the expansions and all as well, the big disappointment with Shadowbringers is the advertisement and the selling point was, oh, you've always been the warrior of light, become the warrior of darkness, and all of that stuff. And then it turns out that, yes, you become the warrior of darkness in an alternate world where dark is good and light is bad. So it's so stupid. Like, the world is basically bathed in light because all the enemies and all are just putting constant light on there. So you have to stop them and bring the darkness, aka the shadow. So it's really disappointing and misleading in that way. But I mean, you got cool stuff. You got, you know, cool artwork as well, as you'd expect with like Odin and whatnot. But then let's pop around here. See whatever else we got in this bad boy. This one hasn't been opened in a few years. Okay, is this gonna be, no, it's not gonna be a big awkward one. Or maybe it will. We'll spread it all apart. Oh, maybe, yeah, this is gonna be big and awkward. This is actually pretty heavy. There must be a book in here. So this is probably the art book. Let's see how we can open this without making a mess of everything. Oh, it opens this way. Oh, no, it's not the art book. Or maybe the art book is still in here as well. But we have the Shadowbringers game, which is self-explanatory. I'm not going to worry about all of that. We have some playing cards, which are all fully sealed because, of course, they are. You've got chick from Stormblood on as the ace, I guess. That's is it Lisa? Risa? I can't remember. It's been a while. I don't really care. They kind of fucked up heavily with the Final Fantasy XIV character cast after towards the end of the first 2.0 story. I mean, when you kill off the worst character and bring her back and make her a heavy focal point and just redo the lore again and again just to keep her around longer and longer, even though you basically keep saying, yeah, she's on the way out, she's on the way out, you can fuck off and die. But then we've got Gunbreaker, new class for this one. We got Dancer, which, you know, unfortunately had the stupid Vieira bunny girls. Dark Knight, White Mage, Dragoon, Monk. We won't go through everything, but yeah, there's a ton of stuff as you'd expect from all of this. And then we have Shadowbringers, which is, I don't know if this is like a vinyl sticker or something along those lines, but you get the idea. But that's not all. Oops. There naturally is a little bit more to this big box edition. No, not like an original old school PC game, but I guess it's close. In which we have, oh, no front picture and all on it. Let's get this bad boy open. Hopefully it doesn't fall apart. We know how we've had these in the past. But of course they tried to pass it off as their Maester quality figures, but you know, those figures are like 3 times the price of this whole collector's edition. So you have, you know, I don't even know who this is now. I don't think it's Derplander as a Dark Knight, bringing the darkness to everything. I don't even remember. Shows how much of a fan I am I right? But anyway, that is the Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers Collector's Edition. Not many more to go now, only 3 more after this, and then we are finally officially done, even though this will all be recorded completely out of order. But yeah, let's just move on. Which catches us up to the modern day with our Final Fantasy XIV Dawn Trail Collector's Edition. Pretty fresh, pretty new, only out a few weeks. Let's get this bad boy inside. This one is weird because they did it in a weird way. It didn't come with a physical edition of the game at all, which is a shame. It was a digital code emailed to you and the physical collector's box or whatever it is. There's a few other games that have attempted to do this lately, but some of those other games that have attempted to do it didn't even include the game. Like, you could buy, I believe it was the Diablo 4 Ultimate Collector's Edition, which came with like all this big fancy stuff, but did not include a copy of the game. Resident Evil Village, I think it was, or maybe it was Resident Evil, that would be Resident Evil 8, but one of them anyway did it. I want to say it was the one that had the mansion, the house, so, or like, I guess it wouldn't be a house. Resident Evil, I think it was Resident Evil 7. Oh, don't fall everywhere, don't fall everywhere. I can't even remember what's in this. I did open it when I bought it a little while ago. I think I opened it. I did. So let's see what we got in here. Another cloth map. This is, I don't remember if this is of Eorzea, because they keep adding new places and new continents and all as well. And unfortunately, with what they promised at the end of Endwalker, they just didn't do. But see, they kind of wrote themselves into a hole, because at the end of 2.0, with what they did in the story there, they got rid of one of the worst characters of the entire story and brought her back. So yeah, it's been a crutch the entire time. She's also a shite character, and they brought her back for the entirety of like 7 more fucking expansions, or 5 more expansions, I guess it would be, whatever the hell it was. And it's been a crutch and a massive blight and black mark on the game ever since. We have a nice little pocket guide here. I cannot read that in the language. Let's open this bad boy up. I want to see if it's more like the original one, or if it's like a travel guide, or... Oh, I'm going to regret opening this, because this is going to be hard to get back in. It's another little notebook, similar to what we had in the 1.0 Collector's Edition. It feels nice. It's got a textured finish. It's more of like a material, like soft leather or suede finish almost. So it is actually nice. It's pretty cool. It has the... I actually don't know what that emblem is. Someone's going to tell me now, but Q, you're like halfway through the main story quest, the MSQ of, I was trying to remember the expansion name, of Dawn. See, this is why I shouldn't have opened this, because now I can't get it back in, because of all this sticky everything. Phrasing. Yeah, you know what, we're just going to get rid of that. Do myself a favor, because it's just big and awkward and in the way. We got 10% left on this battery. There's nothing else in there by the looks of it. Oh no, I am wrong. Oh my god, what is this? Oh, I'm gonna regret taking this out. There's, you know what, I can't take it out because it's stuck in the box in a big awkward way. I don't know what this is. It looks like it's another big map. We can see the details and stuff on it here too. It looks like it's a map, all right. I don't know. All right, it's so big and awkward. I just have to move it. I have to do this off camera because it's just so awkward. Square, why are you like this? Help me help you. And it's got like leather or suede little straps or handles or whatever that was, but they really just had to be awkward, didn't they? And yeah, I'm still doing this all on camera. Or, oh my god, that doesn't even fit. No, that didn't fit in. That didn't go in there. Or did it? Oh shit, did it? It did. We got it back in. It's okay. It's okay. It's all off camera stuff. It's fine. It's fine. To quote Eddie Griffin, sit down. Why are these things always so awkward to do? So there's one. We have that there. 6% left on this battery. Let's quickly bust right in here. That we can do. Again, I hate these packages. Why do people think these are good packages for collectible stuff of all things? So we have in here, we got one of our new main character thingies. It is, Jesus, I don't even recognize who that is. You know what? This is actually taped up. I don't have the time to open this. What a terrible host and presenter I am. It's not your one who we affectionately call Hawktua now, even though that's not her name, but I can't remember what it is. Maybe it's supposed to be Derplander. Maybe it's supposed to be Derplander as a Viper. Nobody likes Derplander though. Lalafell Master Race. But that is the... Wait a second. How to assemble. Final Fantasy 14 expertly crafted Viper figure. So it is Viper, new class, which I haven't even unlocked yet. But anyway, we're going to bounce out of this one because I got 4% battery left on this. It is the Final Fantasy 14 Collector's Edition PC version of Dawn Trail. Yeah. More great physical PC editions, although this is a kind of a smaller, bit of a letdown one in a way. But a game that, well, if you've been knocked that over. Let's get that out of the way. If you've been following a long time here on the channel, you know this game, and it was one of the big stream ones I did a long time ago. The Life is Strange PC Limited Edition. This came out at the end of the whole thing. I bought it and did not play it for years. But let's see what's in here. It's a kind of basic one. Well, you remember when physical PC games had like recommended requirements and stuff on them? Woo lad, those were the days. Never really had to worry about them, being the crazy PC gamer and PC builder enthusiast that I am. But I mean, if you're here, you probably already know that. So we have the regular old, whoops, dropping everything out here. This is just the game, which of course we did not install from a disc. I did have a disk drive in the computer at the time, but I mean, I have good internet, so it was quicker to just get just redeem the code and go from there. We have the soundtrack, which has funky artwork on the front, like straight out of, is it Max? I think it's Max. You've got songs on the back. I don't know if it's the entire thing. Let me take a quick look. I have to hold them back here. Max and Chloe. Sam and Max. That's a very different thing. That's the dog and the other one. Whoops. Completely forgot about that. And then we have some sort of kind of journal. Is an art book. It's probably Max. It's a picture book. It's basically an art book. Yeah, it's basically the art book. But they have it done in the style similar to Max, the main character, and all her stuff. It's going to be weird. Don't know how the next one's going to work because she's in that. But if you played this, well, you know. Now this next one's going to be a bit of a big wild one. Unfortunately, it's not in the best condition, and this is the condition it actually arrived in from Amazon when I bought it. It had, I believe, 3, if not more, rips already in it, even though it was fully sealed in a cardboard box. So it must have just happened in the actual warehouse. I was going to say factory. But we have the Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom King's Edition. But wait, to make it even better, it is a PC edition. Even though PC digital download, it says here in the corner. But this is the Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom King's Edition. Good game. Not as good as the first one. It changed too much, pretty much the entire style of gameplay. So I did think the first game was that much better. Still a good game though, but you know, not worthy of the big stupid amount of money that I paid for this. But hey, I was you know me, I'm a bit of a baller, as we know. So there we go. That was a nice tight fit. So let's get everything where we can. So we got some character art on the front. I don't remember the character's name. I don't think it's Ollie. I think Ollie is from the first one. Looks like this wasn't put in correctly. That would be my fault because I did open this back in the day. Never mind. It's fine. What do we got here? We have a pop-up diorama book thingy. This is a fairly big collector's edition and it's all in the way. So there's only one there. Is there something on the inside? It feels like there's something on the inside. There's a vinyl. Wow, I don't remember. Ooh. Oh, it's okay. It was only the cardboard. There is a vinyl. Now I'm going to be very careful with this because there are proper ways to handle a vinyl. Oh God. And I don't want to. There we go. You don't want to touch the grooves and all in here. So my finger's actually in the middle on the far side. And let's see. We have a different design on the far side. Now, of course, the big problem is going to be getting this back in. I'm going to do this off camera I will do it like right now because I don't want it to get dirty, dust, scratched, anything like that. But I'm just doing it back here because it has to be done in such a delicate way that I wanted to give it the full attention. And then you got to put it in if you got... So one thing when you're putting vinyl back in a thing like this, since there's only one slit in these paper sleeves, you don't put the slit facing outwards because then stuff can get in. You don't put the slit facing downwards because then, obviously if it's facing outwards, it could easily fall out as well. You don't put it facing downwards because then if you're holding this upright and you pull it out, it could fall out from underneath. You don't put it at the top because then, for whatever reason, dust can get in from that side too sometimes. So you should actually put it facing inwards this way. I got a bunch of vinyl for other stuff, so it's one of them things that you learn. So what else have we got here? There's a big space. You might have to just make some extra space on here because this just ain't it. Like, look at the size of this art. This is the same size as the vinyl, basically. The Art of Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kit. Don't do it, don't fall. Okay, I almost knocked something over, which we did not want. There'll be plenty of art in here. We're not going to go through the entire thing, just to give you a rough idea. Like I said, who knows, maybe someday we will have a giant art book stream. You know what, for the purposes of this, I'm going to move some of this off here, just so we have more space. Because there's still plenty more coming. We have the game itself. That's just the King Edition, so you have a code in there on a fancy little card. So it's on the back of it. Steam code / season pass. So, you know, it's on there. Steelbook. Okay, Steelbook. Art cards on the inside. Everything falling apart. For some reason... So wait, what is this? The Kingmaker's Making of Ni no Kuni 2. So it's not even a game disc. It's just a digital download. But it makes me wonder, why is there a second one in here? There's nothing else so far that has a second disc. I mean, I'm sure it's probably just mass produced because the console versions and all, and I mean, I get that, but still. So what's in this? Yeah, we can still see this on camera. But you know what? Let's Jesus Christ. There's a reason why they have these things and I put them in incorrectly. 'Cause I'm an idiot. I'm a dumbass. You know what? Now we're standing up for this bad boy. So I can see what I'm doing instead of just seeing the top end up there. So let's try get... If this doesn't work, I'm turning this bitch upside down. Yeah, okay, I'm going to do that because that is actually a big box. I did not realize that. I thought it was just like another... Yeah, and you know what? Before we forget it, goes in this way so we can easily pull it back out. Phrasing. So what have we got here? We have one of these awful boxes that I hate because I do not want to rip it. But it's oh my god. Really, fucking Namco Bandai? Why do you have like that? There we go, the hardcorest boxes ever. We just got a little bend in here, unfortunately. Someone's going to leave a comment in these things like, but Q, there's a specific way you should be opening these. And I'm like, yes, let me know if there is. Because I'm sick and tired of these damn things, which we have a bajillion of, that do this. But we have the little King's Edition diorama dealio. Is it going to be a diorama? It's like a bell jar crystal thingy in there. It's dual-sided actually. Got him just sitting there young by himself, and then the king with the other characters that are with him. But that is the very expansive Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom Kings Edition. I think there's other ones. I think there's like a Prince's Edition or something. It's like one down from it. But I'm going to get all this back into the box off camera because this, boyos, is going to be a nightmare. Now this next one's probably going to surprise people that I have this collector's edition. I mean, I've probably said that a few times at this point, but I mean, it remains true. But believe it or not, we have the physical PC Overwatch collector's edition. That's right, lads. I used to play Overwatch way back in the yesteryears of 2016 when it first came out. I played it pretty strong for about 6 months or so. To give you a rough idea of when I stopped playing it, it would have been, I believe, about 6 months after launch in October, November of that year. Sombra was being released, and we were up at a convention in Dublin when she was announced and all that as well. And just, it was like literally that weekend before we went up, I had stopped playing it and given up Overwatch. But I will say, out of all the characters and all as well, I mean, there's all sorts of stuff relating to the game. And how does this come out? Oh, there's a hole on this side that we can like push through. Yeah. I will say that despite all the characters and all the bays and waifus and all in the game, if they ever come to Ireland, I probably won't bother meeting many of them. I think the only one off the top of my head I would meet because of like their voice work in other games would be McCree, because he's Matthew Mercer, which, you know, has a decent amount. He has a decent amount of stuff that I would know him from and go from there. But the only other one would be for a different reason. It would be Zarya. And you might be wondering, why would I meet the giant buff powerlifter, weightlifter, pink-haired Russian lesbian? Well, it's because years ago I tweeted towards Blizzard with tagging her voice actress. Like, hey, Blizzard, why can't we get the meme, "It's only game, why you have to be mad?" in the lovely Zarya voice. And then like randomly about a year and a half later in the middle of the night, she tweeted me back and just said, yeah, why not? Good point. Or something along those lines. And then like a week later it was added into the game. So I personally take credit for having that. So I would print out those 3 tweets together, or I think it's just 2 tweets together. I would get it laminated and I'd get her to sign it. Because you're welcome, lads. Not that anyone plays Overwatch in current year. I believe it's been bastardized and fucked up and destroyed and all with Overwatch 2. And, well, you know, Microsoft buying and ruining everything that they touch. Ooh, how does it... We're going to have a stand-up moment here. How the fuck does this... There's a strap in... Oh, it's a Velcro strap. This actually came with, I believe I don't have it in here because I don't think it was included as part of the collector's edition. But I think if you pre-ordered the collector's edition, they gave you, it's basically a tin license plate. I have it somewhere, and it's just all the it just says Overwatch along the top, and it just has all the base characters in there. But we have an Overwatch art book, which is in a sleeve. Now, you know, art from Blizzard is always funky. It's always good, especially when you've got bays like Widowmaker. And do we have Mercy? Mercy is probably the goat of bays. There she is. A good old Angela Ziegler. With a good old Swiss Miss. Let's keep that aside for a moment. What else have we got in here? We have Overwatch Collector's Edition soundtrack. So there's some sounds on there. Other than maybe the winning sound, like end of game thing, I don't think I could tell you a single track from the entire game. We have the Steelbook, which has a disc inside it and an already used code. And a Noir Widowmaker skin, which we've already redeemed. Free cards for anyone who wants Hearthstone stuff. We already have them there. And we got some art cards. Or are they postcards? They're probably postcards because, yeah, they are. They're postcards. They're probably from all the different maps. I got to be very careful with this because I didn't want to rip that. So we've got King's Row. These are actually really thick. China. Numbani. Route 66. Nepal. Temple of Anubis. Volskaya. The Watch Point. That's just some of them. And then we've got Dorado. Hanamura. Not Yosuke Hanamura. Hollywood and Ilios. So that's all of our postcards. Now I'm gonna do this off camera here because this is gonna be quite the feat to try do. Oh my god, this is so difficult to do without tearing. I think I have it. Yes. I feel like Marilyn Manson in the Celebrity Deathmatch episode, where he's like, yeah, well, you know, I'm gonna beat them. I'm gonna beat their ass, and I'm gonna defeat them in here, and I hope their souls burn in the fiery furnaces of blackest hell. And then the interviewer just turns around, blackest hell, yes. So let's bust out our last piece in here. Is this our last piece? Yes, it is. Let's get this closed temporarily. We'll get this out of the way. So we have Soldier 76. Someone I can partially relate to. Because he's an old man. I'm not a young man anymore. This is... Okay, good. I'll just get it started off camera here so we can do this. Now, put this off to the side. I have to be very careful here. I think the statue comes in 2 pieces, so if I'm not going to put it together. Yeah, it does. Because in here, this is very heavy compared to what it should be, because there's a really strong weighted base in there that he slots into and goes from there. But we have the Soldier 76, which is funny because I never really considered Soldier 76 as the mascot or like the primary character of anything of Overwatch. Most people, myself included, consider Tracer the main character of Overwatch, or at least the mascot of Overwatch. Which way does this go? I think his gun is there, so it goes this way. There we go. Well, that is the Overwatch Collector's Edition. Of course, like I said, that is she may be what is usually concerned as the primary character, but let's be real. We all know Mercy and Widowmaker are where it's at. And I do want to bring up a funny one. You're welcome, Kotaku, you kills or fucking quote stealing fucking vulture cunts, as one of you stole one of my original posts on a different website. You even had the audacity to like it, and your name came up a little bit, like maybe 2 hours before you posted the actual article. So I believe I am the one responsible for when they announced Tracer. Well, not when they announced Tracer, but when they announced Tracer was gay, that I was the one that coined the term, cheers love, the cavalry is queer, because she's English and she has cheers love, the cavalry is here. And some Kotaku cunt liked that post, and then within like an hour or two, he or she had his own one up. I can't remember if it was a man or a woman. Had his or her own article up using the exact same thing, praising it. So yeah, where's my fucking ad revenue, Kotaku? Now we get the moment of truth, as promised and alluded to earlier. I have it picked up in a way that it doesn't clarify just yet, but we have the StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty Collector's Edition. So, as expected, first off, let's see if we can hear anything when I let go. It seems like it's stuck to the back. It's a little bit off. It's definitely stuck. There is adhesive. You can see it. There is adhesive. I wasn't losing my mind. It was just a different edition. I do love the design of these boxes. It fits in very well with the lore and all too, because that's just pretty funky. So this is obviously the Terran one, because you know they're the main characters and race and whatnot in it. We got the game DVD. It's not really important. We have funky USB key, which we can probably get quickly open. Yeah, there we go. Got a nice USB key dog tag chip thingy. How do you open this? How do you pop it out? There we go. This contains StarCraft 1. And then there's a little chain for it and all as well. But yeah, this... How do we... There we go, you have to push it in. So yeah, that actually contains StarCraft 1. So you can... it was nice when they used to give that stuff away with it as well. It made sense. It was, again, a bit of a thank you. I actually almost didn't buy the StarCraft 2 Collector's Edition. I was going to buy the game eventually. I wasn't even going to buy it at launch. And then we went down... Someone was picking up a copy of StarCraft and I saw it there. I was like, I was going to buy it eventually for the normie edition, but I might as well just buy this one since it's here. We have the soundtrack, which I think I've actually opened and listened to, because you know how these are usually sealed. We have a behind the scenes DVD in typical Blizzard fashion. Great graphics, etc. as well. I remember if you checked out StarCraft 2 when it first came out, the in-game cinematics that use the in-engine stuff were so ridiculously good. We have a StarCraft number 0 special comp. You know what, I'm not going to take this out just because these are always such a nightmare to get back into these ones. And then we got a big, huge art of StarCraft 2 Wings of Liberty edition art book, which of course would also have great art in it as well, as is typical for Blizzard stuff, which we've mentioned a bajillion times by now. Also, especially this one would do extra good for me because I'm a big fan of Warhammer 40k. I have tons of miniatures. I've been meaning to get back into the game for years. The tabletop game, that is. There's nothing else in there. I keep buying more and more and eventually planning to do it, but I just never get the full drive to it. Although, hint, hint, I do kind of have the space for it now that the computer's out of the way. But that's a different problem. That's something we'll worry about later. And of course, we'll just progress on from there. The logical next step is the StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm Collector's Edition. Again, we're stuck on the back. This one came out many years later, so the adhesive on this one is either still stronger or it was just stronger originally from the get-go. But, wow, it's actually so strong it's helping keep these together. That's wild. Yeah, there's a few of them on the back. There's 3. I think it feels like maybe 3 of them down the bottom. Wild and bussin', as they say. There is 2 of them down the bottom. We can see it on there. So what have we got in this one? Well, this is an expansion pack, so it would usually have less in it. We have the Heart of the Swarm music selection CD. We have the game DVD. Of course, this one is all about Zerg and the Queen of Blades, Kerrigan herself, who, you know, is a hottie with a body, the total baddie herself. We have the behind the scenes section for all her stuff too. And then we also have a mouse mat, just like we did for the Diablo expansion. And then, of course, we have a Zerg themed, Queen of Blades themed Heart of the Swarm art book, which of course has Bay on the front of it. I mean, I'm scare-roused looking at that, but that's just me. But anyway, that is the StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm Collector's Edition. You know, it just reminded me actually, because all this talk about Kerrigan and the Queen of Blades. I think it's Mercy. No, it's not Mercy. Widowmaker from Overwatch had a really cool Kerrigan skin. Just the more you know. And you know what it is. You know what's next after we've had the other 2. But of course, we got the Protoss Void Rays, baby. Void Rays, as we all know. This one, not so much on here. No adhesive at all. It did feel like by the time this came out, it was just kind of an afterthought that they were just pushing out. So it just didn't have the same cachet, which is such a shame because the Protoss is the best army, hence all them Void Rays. And even the way it all just connects together and all, it's just a bit more basic. I realize at the same time it is more Protoss than anything else, but the Heart of the Swarm one was basically just the Terran one, which wasn't very Zerg. We got the game DVD, nothing special, nothing important to talk about on there. But despite this being the Protoss expansion, it's again, it felt like it kind of was rushed out a little bit because the actual expansion itself was probably the weakest of the three. Well, weakest of the three if you include the main game, of course. We have our usual music CD and all as well. Our making of behind the scenes DVD. No. Oh, we got a field manual, but I was going to say no mouse mat or anything in this one. So this is all Dominion Marine Corps Combat Handbook Classified Field Manual, Veteran Edition. It makes me wonder if it's actually an art book or if it's just a big lore book or kind of like maybe like a field manual as a brief on the Protoss that they would have given to the Terrans to how to fight them and how to combat them. But I mean, realistically, you just buy a shitload of Void Rays and, well, it's like the 2024 American elections. It's Jover. Okay, I think this next one's going to be a challenge because, well, like some of the others, it's a big boy box. But we have a very disappointing Elder Scrolls Online. Yeah, that's not fitting on here at all. Collector's Edition. Now, let's break it down. I bought this still back in around the time where it was, hey, I want this game, I'll buy the best collector's edition of it. Or there's something in the collector's edition I want. Which is actually what this one falls into. Because originally, when this game was launched, or this game was announced, way back in the day, I got into, like, I think it was the closed early access alpha, and it was hard to kind of spread that around because if you recorded anything or took any screenshots or anything, your individual account name was plastered and watermarked all over them. So it was kind of difficult to do anything with. But it turned out that during that beta test and all, we found out the game was actually shite. So I decided against it, and I decided, you know what, I do not want this game. It's going to be bad. And then they announced oh, what have I done? 1 second, my light is off. Not off, but it's off center. I think I hit it while I was opening this box. Not with this one, but the slide off thing at the start. But it had a big cool collector's edition with a big cool statue of, I believe it's Moloch Baal, so I decided I wanted it. And it was still disappointment. So, Elder Scrolls Online Steelbook, Imperial Edition. This basically comes as, I have access to the game since they ported it over to the other version and all as well, so I can still play that if I really wanted. Not that I ever would. Why would I ever? It's a bad looking game. But, I mean, people have always told me, oh, Q, it's improved massively since then, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, well, you know what else has gotten better? The cure for AIDS. I was about to say, I don't want that either. I'd rather just not, I mean, I guess not the cure for AIDS, but I'm all over the place with that one. The cure for the treatment for major diseases. There you go. How's that? That makes, oh, see, this is what I was worried about. This is what I was worried about. There we go. Let's ignore my silly comments that I get horribly wrong. But, so, I can't put this together properly because it's actually a real nightmare to do. I used to have it put together properly because you have him. He has a big fuck off tail that is an absolute nightmare to get in and out. And then, like, onto his stand. So let's get him back in here for the moment, because I used to have this out on display years ago, but then I took it apart and put it back in here when I was you know, running into spatial issues, we'll call them. Hang on, I gotta put this down. Of course, I didn't even have space beside me or anything to do all that, but yeah, that's where it gets messy. So here's where it gets real fucked up. I don't even know where the tail is. 1 second. I think it's actually on the back of that stand. It is. You can't really see it, but there's basically a plastic backing on here. This bit down here is like the big stand that he sits on, and then the tail is like whipped around it. But it's actually awful, so let's not worry about any of that. And then we have a big, lovely, hefty, heavy coffee table size art book. It looks like it's actually one of the side opening ones in like the long landscape versions. But it does feel good. It feels like it's going to be weighty, like it's going to be almost that kind of tough yet flexible leather, like you'd have on maybe the Final Fantasy 14 1.0 edition, or one or two other things we've randomly seen so far, or maybe not seen in this video because they're shot in all types of orders. Here's another one that everyone's going to be surprised by, but there is a bit of a caveat with this as well, because we have the Sims 4 Collector's Edition on PC. I don't even think the Sims 4 is on console. I don't think so. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't pay attention to stuff like that on the pleb boxes, because here in the glorious PC Gaming Master Race we don't need to. Again, comes with DVDs and stuff too, but well, we don't worry about any of that stuff. That is very tight in that direction. Let's see if we can get it around the other way. Now there is a bit of, like I said, there's a bit of a caveat with this particular edition and this particular one. So there's something that comes with this collector's edition that I cannot find. I know I have it. I've used it. I used to use it for funsies when I played it originally, and well, we'll talk about it and why I know I have it for streaming purposes, but we'll get around to that anyway. So let's just boot this. It's a nice funky box. We get it on open. What do we got here? So we have this little box, which we'll come back to in just a moment. Nothing else on the inside other than our Sims 4 game and game case, and probably nothing big or important in there other than, you know, the code that's already been redeemed, because I have it all on there. And then we have what's probably an art book. It's not exactly an art book. It's more of a history of The Sims. I mean, I've been down to ride with The Sims 1 from the entire time. Kind of fell off during the Sims 3 era. I saw what was coming in The Sims 3 at launch, and I said, hey, this is basically just The Sims 2 with all its expansion packs. That's kind of boring. I already have those. So I skipped that, and I eventually went back and bought it years later with like 1 or 2 expansions. I was thoroughly disappointed, but The Sims 4 got me reinvigorated back into the whole thing. It was kind of annoying when they updated it recently. It became like the free-to-play version, and it fucked with my save file and fucked with my neighborhood and fucked with everything. So I basically had to manually uninstall it a real awkward way because I couldn't boot it, and yeah. But this, anyway, that's beside the point, I suppose. This, there we go. This is actually technically an empty box right now, if I can even open it. Well, okay, I am not going to attempt to open that because I will damage it. I don't want to rip anything. It's empty right now. But what this is, or what this had in it originally, which I cannot find, is an interactive USB plumbob. I don't know, whatever it is. It's the little icon thingy, you know, the crystal, the diamond, the whatever it is, above. I remember when it was still called Origin before it failed. It was still, it matched the one that your sim you were controlling was. So it was USB powered. And what would happen is if your sim was happy and his was green above his head, this would be green. If it was, you know, feeling romantic and it was pink, this would be pink. If he was angry and it was red, this would be red. If he was depressed, it'd be blue, and this one would be blue. So why is that funny and interesting? Well, years ago, I streamed a couple of streams of The Sims 4. Funnily enough, it's how someone I know in real life randomly I had known him before this, but he randomly stumbled across me streaming this because he didn't know I had a YouTube channel. He didn't know I streamed any of that stuff. And he randomly found me streaming this. And then he said it to me a few days later, next time he saw me. But anyway, what I did at the time for meme purposes, I got a cheap hoodie that I had left over. I cut out a little hole in the top of it. I fed the USB cable through my sleeve, up through the back of the hood, and I put this little plumb thing through the top of the hole. So it was sitting on top of my head on camera as I was playing, and you could see it. It's actually all still archived here on YouTube somewhere. Probably don't recommend everyone do it. It was a long time ago, and yeah, streaming quality and setups and all have changed a good bit since then. But that's this. Unfortunately, I can't find this. It's somewhere in 2 rooms deep of mess. So yeah, sorry about that one. Now this one is this is a meme one almost, but we have the Watch Dogs DedSec edition on PC. This was the game that made me break my my Ubisoft ban that I had put upon myself years earlier. And of course, mainly because I'm sure everyone remembers what they showed off for Watch Dogs. But of course, is not what Watch Dogs became because of dumbing it down for console plebbery and all of that as well. So what do we have in here? We have the game itself, which we don't need to talk too much about. We have a steelbook with a steelbook. We have a Chicago map. This actually feels like it's huge. It feels like it's folded like a million times. But it's disappointing. A soundtrack, just a CD. Not sure if it's the full thing or not. In here, let's see what else we've got. This is a Watch Dogs something. I can't actually tell what those are. Oh, it opens a different way. They're like in default. I don't know if they're QR codes or just like hipster stuff because of the kind of idea and theory behind the game. We have a couple of badges and pins, nothing important in there. And then of course we have Aiden Pierce himself. Good old, I don't even know what to call him. The good old meme character. One of the most bland and uninteresting characters ever. With terrible voice acting. And geez, look how dusty he is. It's a combination of from when I left it out in the open for years without actually cleaning it because it's Watch Dogs and just being back in there. But anyway, that's the Watch Dogs DedSec edition. Very big disappointment in both the edition and the game. But yeah, we'll see what's next.